Hey there, welcome back to Everyday English and Beyond. If you're learning English, you might have noticed that translating every word in your head from your native language can really slow you down. In today's video, I'll show you how to stop translating and start thinking in English. We'll cover why this is so important and practical ways you can start training your brain to think in English naturally. Let's dive in. First of all, let's talk about why it's so important to stop translating. When you're constantly translating from your native language, you're not really thinking in English. You're just converting words. This slows you down and makes your speech sound less natural. Imagine if you had to pause for a second to think of how to say something in your native language before translating it into English. That takes time and causes hesitation, which can make you feel less confident in your conversations. Thinking directly in English helps you speak more fluently and naturally. You'll start forming sentences more quickly, and the conversation will flow much better. So, how can we start thinking in English? The key is to immerse yourself in the language as much as possible. Here are a few tips to help your brain make the switch from translating to thinking directly in English. 1. Start with simple sentences. Try describing things around you in English. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm sitting on a chair" in your native language, say it in English. "I'm sitting on a chair." This gets your brain used to thinking in English without needing to translate. 2. Use visual cues. If you're learning new words, connect them to pictures, actions, or objects instead of translating them. For example, when you see a cat, think cat, not the word for cat in your native language. 3. Practice thinking in English daily. Start with short periods of time each day where you only think in English. You could do this when you're walking, cooking, or even just relaxing. Imagine having an inner dialogue in English. 4. Engage with English content. Watch TV shows, listen to podcasts, or read books in English. The more exposure you have, the easier it will be for your brain to make the shift. When trying to think in English, many learners make the mistake of overthinking. They might try to form perfect sentences instead of just focusing on the meaning. Another mistake is trying to translate every word or phrase. For example, if you hear a phrase like catch up, don't translate it word for word into your native language. Understand it as a whole concept, like get updated or talk after a while. And lastly, don't worry about making mistakes. Thinking in English is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. Now that you know why it's important and how to start thinking in English, here are some practical ways you can practice daily. 1. Label your environment. Label objects around your house in English. For example, put a sticker on your door that says door, on your chair that says chair, etc. This helps reinforce the words in your mind and makes it easier to think in English. 2. Journal in English. Try writing down your thoughts in English every day. This can be anything from a diary entry to a list of things you need to do. It'll help you get used to writing and thinking in English at the same time. 3. Think in English during routine tasks. When you're doing daily activities, try to think about them in English. If you're cooking, think about the ingredients and steps in English. If you're driving, think about the road signs and directions in English. So that's how you can start thinking in English and stop translating. It won't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, you'll soon notice your English fluency improving. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just keep practicing, and you'll get better every day. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me how you practice thinking in English. I'd love to hear your tips and experiences. See you next time.